In this video, I'm going to be going over the analysis of Patrick Henry's Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death. So last Friday we went over this, but I want to show you in a little bit more detail how to actually fill it out on the handout. So we went over and we talked about the idea that the claim presented in this speech is in order for people who live in America during that time period to find liberty from England, they must stand up and fight. So you can take this claim and you can actually copy it and paste it onto this section right here. So the speaker's viewpoint. And you can, it's going to edit it kind of funny, but that's okay. And just highlight this one so we know that that's the one we're doing. What reasons does the speaker provide? So you could just add like a little summary. So let's look at this. So he talks about, right here, so he talks about the idea that Great Britain is their enemy. They are preparing for war. And then it says, I don't remember where it is, but it's, oh, here we go. Our brethren are already in the field. Okay, so think about how that could be summarized. Let's go back to this. So what reasons? Britain is our enemy. So that's one reason to fight. I spelled it wrong. And then another reason could be that a war has already begun and has been started by Britain. And then their brethren is like their fellow countrymen are already in the field fighting. So others should fight too. So these are the three possible reasons that he uses to support his claim. Now we need to find textual evidence, and this is simply what I just looked at. So we'll just find it. So this one right here, our brethren, you can actually just copy and paste it. Copy. Make sure it's in quotes because it's word for word. And that is an example of evidence to support the idea that their fellow countrymen are already fighting. And then what about Britain is their enemy? So we can look. Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array if its purpose be not to force us to submission? So he's saying like Britain is their enemy. They are trying to make them submit. Okay, so you could use this one if you would like. So technically, Great Britain is not their friend. Great Britain is not trying to make their lives easier. They're essentially trying to control them. So that could be a reason that you include as well. So you could put right here, Britain is our enemy. They are trying to control us. Let's see, what else? We've got 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. So there are people that are starting to fight. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. So this goes along with our brethren. Our brethren's already out on the field. We should not be fighting this battle alone. They should not be fighting alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations. So God, actually you could add this as a reason too. So you could say something like, God is watching over us and he will determine who should win and and he will keep us safe. He will kind of like help us through this journey, through this battle. I'll put it in quotes. Here we go. So we've got all this textual evidence. You're going to need to find a little bit more just to go along with a war has already begun. There's a part where he talks about the fact that Great Britain has already taken up arms. And then let's look at the next question. Is the speaker's evidence relevant and sufficient? Use evidence from the text to support it. And that's this portion right here. So we have to consider, are the arguments that he uses, the textual evidence that he uses, is all of that which we put right here, is all of this evidence, is it relevant to his claim that in order for the people who live in America to find liberty, they must fight? Okay, is that relevant? And that's up to you. And relevant means like to go along with the claim. And then, is it sufficient? Is it enough evidence to make his point valid, clear, and strong? And that's up to you as well. You just have to argue the point. In my opinion, all of his points are very relevant because he speaks about fighting the entire time, and he tells us why, or he tells his brethren, his fellow people, why they should take up arms, why they should fight, why fighting is the only option. And he says fighting is the only option because we've been silent for so long and we've tried to plead our case and that hasn't worked, so now we just have to start a war. And as far as sufficient, I think it's enough. I would love to see a little bit more information to prove, because he says in this paragraph right here, he talks about how Britain is kind of pulling the wool over their eyes and saying, we'll help you, we'll give you what you want. But then he says, well, they're not going to do it. But he doesn't give any evidence to support the idea that Britain is not eventually going to give them what they want. So, but that's really up to you. And then let's look at a counterclaim. This paragraph right here includes his counterclaim, which is the voice against his claim. So the idea that they shouldn't fight. So he says, Mr. President, it is natural for man to indulge in the illusions of hope. So right here, this is the counterclaim. Because there are people out there that are saying they don't want to fight because they hope that Great Britain will give them what they want. Okay, so that is, I'm going to put that here. Okay, so the counterclaim is this. That's textual evidence, and then we can pick it apart by saying the counter is stating that they should not fight because they hope that Britain will eventually give them their freedom. But then his rebuttal, let's look at this. His rebuttal says, we are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth, meaning you guys are shutting your eyes to the fact that this isn't going to happen, and listen to the song of that siren till she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Saying, like, are you really trying to free yourself? Because it doesn't seem like it. Are we disposed to be on the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not? So technically, his rebuttal is, open your eyes. We will not be free until we fight. So that is the analysis. You pick it apart however you feel fit, and I am more than happy to send you this PowerPoint. If you would like it, just reach out. But the PowerPoint includes snips that will very much help you with evidence. You can take what I wrote as long as you understand it and can elaborate upon it. Thank you.